familiar with. Eric Rill on your left, Chris VanMeter on your right. Both of these guys have won Open Series. Rill, multiples. He also won PTQ last weekend in Columbus, so he'll be going to a Pro Tour Journey of Knicks. But right now he's got to get by the number 6 player on our leaderboard, Chris VanMeter, who very badly wants to qualify for the Players' Championship. And he's off to a nice start so far this weekend, sitting at 4-1 with his Greener Monsters deck.
Yeah, and Eric is playing, you know, we talked about this deck being kind of the hype a couple weeks ago and falling off the radar, but Eric doing very well here. Blue-white control, no creatures in the main deck. Win conditions are Jace, Elspeth, and an Elixir. Yep. You've seen this recipe before.
We'll update you guys on the board state here. You see Rill's got a couple of lands in play. Among them is a Mutavault. You'll also see a Temple of Deceit there, but that is just so that he can scry, so no black cards in his deck. He's got an Elspeth on 5, 3 Soldier tokens, so predictably Elspeth just did come into play last turn. VanMeter attacking with a 3/3 Mistcutter Hydra, has a Domri that is ticking up, trying to get to that ultimate, and a couple of other cards in his hand. I think among them, there's a Rook Thar hiding out in the grip. It's one of in VanMeter's sideboard against the old all-spell deck. Now, Elspeth can't kill it. It can't kill it with the minus ability. It's probably going to be priced into doing that, but pretty good cards. You see Gorkland Rampager. Elspeth going to go down to 1. I think it's probably safe to cast that Rook Thar now. Well, next turn, excuse me. Here's an Azorius Charm. Can't target the Mistcutter Hydra with that. Now, part of the reason, as we spoke with CDM a little bit earlier during one of our breaks, is, you know, he thinks that part of the reason his deck is so good is just because people have really just kind of forgotten about how good Gorkland Rampager is.
Yes.
And I think I agree with him. It's been gone for so long.
Yeah, it's another, you know, Ravnica, powerful Ravnica block card that you can't play all of them, so some of them had to fall by the wayside from time to time.
Here's the Supreme Verdict trading 1-for-1 with the Mistcutter Hydra, but that will allow Rill to put some Soldier tokens into play, so not a bad trade. Here's a Detention Sphere to take care of Domri, also not bad.
Looks like there's a concession from Chris here.
Yeah, looks like there is a concession now.
Maybe trying to be a little time conscious?
A little bit surprised. I think I missed something with that.
Well, regardless, it appears that we're going on to a third
game. Yeah, I mean, it looks
here.
like a little confusing. We'll get an update here from our table spotter. Yeah, they are going to be moving on to game number 3 here. Life totals may or may not have been correct. Either way, VanMeter does concede the game. So let's take a look at sideboards. We've got 1 Rurik Thar, 4 Mistcutter Hydra, 2 Destructive Reveille, 2 Shock, 2 Plummet, 2 Mizium Mortars, and 2 Chandra Pyromasters, as we do have confirmation that Chris did just concede the game. We've got Rurik Thar obviously going to come in. Mistcutter Hydras we love in this matchup. Destructive Reveille going to take care of Detention Sphere. Shock, Plummet, Mizium Mortars, not so much. Chandra, I like a lot here.
Chandra is it's tough because, in my experience playing with Chandra against blue-white decks, they have a lot of really clean answers to it, and unless you're actually going to be threatening them with the ultimate, it's not the most efficient thing to be doing.
Sure.
It still may be better than other options he has available to him. He obviously has to cut some of his removal. Maybe he doesn't want to have 4 copies of Pelucanos because they're not their best here, but Chandra, in my experience, has not been as good as you would anticipate a Planeswalker being against blue-white decks.
Okay.
I'd much rather be on Xenagos or Domri.
Well, thankfully for Chris, he has 3 Xenagos and 4 copies of Domri, so he's got plenty of good Planeswalkers to have here.
On Eric's side, he has to sideboard, and he has Pithing Needle he can bring it in to fight over Planeswalkers, and an Aetherling is potentially good here. 2 copies of Celestial Flare, good answer to Mistcutter Hydra, particularly, and just attackers in general. So he can clean up his deck around the margins a little bit, but he doesn't have any enormously impactful cards to be bringing in.
So VanMeter is going to be on the play for this 3rd and final game between 2 Open Series champions. Greener Monsters on the right, Blue-White Control on the left. And as these players do shuffle up, we of course want to thank you guys for joining Patrick and I on our first tournament of many this year.
We have a lot in front of us.
We have a few on the docket. It's kind of crazy thinking back now that 2013 is over. I still remember the first tournament that we did that year in San Diego. Does not seem so long ago.
No.
It's crazy to think that it was a year ago, finishing up with the Invitational in Las Vegas just a couple weeks ago. It goes by fast when you're flying and covering a tournament 2, maybe 3 times a month, but it is definitely a lot of fun. Of course, we want you guys to join in with us as we do make our travels. On Twitter is the best way at SCG Live, # SCGINDY. We're in round 6 of 11 here in Indianapolis, and 712 players. It's great to see this many people in a room loving Magic.
Yeah, particularly, given the weather is, there's some risk here of a snowstorm coming.
Some would say it's frightful.
It's generally freezing out, but still, really good turnout.
And some would say that Magic is delightful.
Magic is delightful.
Yeah.
NFL playoffs kicked this weekend. A lot of excuses. People could have just stayed at home.
Boo. I watch football when you can play Magic. That's what I say.
Right.
It's easy. You know what I love right now? What's better? As Rill's going to take a mulligan. What's better, Chris's beard or Eric's sweater?
Chris's beard.
That was that seemed almost too easy for you to answer.
Anyone, I mean, I could go on to whatever Amazon with $20 or whatever and get Eric's shirt right now. I was feeling so inclined. Chris's.
You probably get 2 for 20.
Yeah, probably 2 for 20 if I had to guess.
Okay.
Some sort of President's Day sale.
Yeah.
Chris's beard, that's a labor of love. That takes time. Not everyone can do that. Definitely more impressive.
Okay. All right. I'm a fan of Rill's sweater. That much facial hair, itchy, scratchy. But that sweater, you're really making a statement with that sweater. That's a sweater that just says, I don't care what you think. That's what that says to me.
That's a sweater that says, man, whatever.
Yeah. I like it. It's a fashion statement. You take your suits and your ties and you throw them in the garbage. Because my sweater will eat that. We're going to take a look at his top 6. It's the beard versus sweater matchup. That's the decks right now. Eric Rill sweater, Chris VanMeter beard. Loser leaves town match.
Eric might be missing mana and total mana and blue mana in this hand that he's just picked up.
That's not good.
But 5 is very few cards, so.
Also true. Also true. What to do? He is not thrilled about taking a mulligan here.
Eric still mulling this one over.
VanMeter kept his.
Very rarely do I see someone with the hands like that where they end up keeping the hand.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
Same. Because what I feel like you're doing there, and I've always felt this way, when you're looking at a hand that long, I feel like you're convincing yourself to keep a bad hand.
Yeah.
Because you know that you should mulligan. If you were just to be sitting in your room or something, and you're just goldfishing a deck, and you just were to turn over the tops of the cards in your deck and see a hand like that, you'd be like, mulligan, obviously. What am I doing? And then shuffle back up and then deal out some more hands of your deck. But when you're in a situation where it's I might be mulligan at 5 against a really good player in VanMeter. I'm 4-1. If I lose again, I can't make the top 8. Ugh. You might convince yourself to keep what is otherwise a pretty marginal to bad hand.
I think the camera has a way of keeping people honest in those situations.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I think if it's possible if he was at home playing Magic Online, he would have kept that 6-card hand. But here?
Easy keep Magic Online. You can just join another queue.
Right.
Yeah, that's easy. I've always felt that way. I feel like mulliganing for the most part is a pretty easy decision. I honestly feel like when you're sitting in your hand and you're looking at it, you're just you're calculating, I could draw this and that and this and that, and then my hand ends up perfect. It's chances are you're probably just supposed to mulligan.
Yes.
VanMeter is going to start the show with an Elvish Mystic, as Rill is happy enough with his 5-card hand. He's going to play an island and pass the turn back. So VanMeter will take a draw here with a little bit of acceleration. See if he has maybe a mountain and a Domri. There's your green, so no red. There's a Boon Satyr in the main phase, so it can't be countered. Pass the turn back.
Yeah, and that's a pretty strong indicator he's missing red.
Yep.
He could have a temple, I suppose, and wanted to curve out. But
Mutavault is the play here for Rill. VanMeter draws a Garrett Caller the Beast. And you can see his hand right now. He's got red cards. And he does not have anything that I think he can deploy on this particular turn.
Well, he has an Ooze.
Oh, he's an Ooze? Okay. So Ooze the Boss is going to come into play. And Rill is going to take a draw step. So even though Rill had a mulligan 3 and his lands are coming up a little bit weird this game because he's got an island, I think 2 Mutavaults. He's got another island, but he doesn't have white mana. So VanMeter can actually get to work here. Another Elvish Mystic there for Chris off the top. He knows he doesn't have to worry about a Supreme Verdict. Rill is so far away from doing that. No Mystic Gate in this format.
Yeah, Chris. Fortunately for Chris, Eric doesn't have any white mana, so there's no threat of Supreme Verdict anytime in the near future. But
Chris can comfortably cast his Elvish Mystic and not have to worry about it getting swept away. The worst that could happen is maybe something like a Detention Sphere on the Elvish Mystics, but then you're still getting, beat in for 6 points of damage from those other creatures. So
yeah, I'm sure Chris would be totally happy with that play here.
Yeah. I don't think there's much of a reason to hold back at this point. You know, it's going to get you. It's going to get you. I mean, I guess a counterspell for dissolve, a dissolve scry,
Yes.
is the big one, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So maybe that's why he was a little hesitant in casting that one-man accelerant. Rill's going to keep the top card of his deck. He's going to take a draw. Let's see what he finds. It's, I believe, a Hollowed Fountain.
Pretty valuable piece of the puzzle here.
Can he afford to play it untapped? The answer is yes. So Rill's going to go down to 8. 3 mana. This is a D-Sphere. And that's going to take care of probably old Boon Sates. Yep. All right, so there that goes. Scavenging Ooze is going to be able to get active here to eat that. Going to turn it into a 3/3 creature. VanMeter going to go up to 21. If you're VanMeter right now, you really want to draw a red source of mana.
Yeah, I mean, Destructive Revelry here would be incredible.
See what he finds. It's a Mutavault. That's not so bad.
That's not, no, it's still more pressure.
Yep. An attack here for 4 is going to put Rill to 4, so he'll be facing lethal in just a little bit. Let's see if Rill can run off another white source, maybe have a Supreme Verdict here. We could have a game of it, actually.
Well, also keep in mind that he has Elspeth in hand, so if he's able to find white mana, then Elspeth might be able to just lock it up.
Last Breath, I think, is in Rill's hand. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe a Celestial Flare. But either way, VanMeter draws his card. It's a Mist Cutter Hydra. How does that change things?
Well, I think it's pretty attractive just to slam it here and send it and Ooze, right? You have 2 3/3s attacking into some Mutavaults.
Doesn't seem so bad. Don't have to worry about Last Breath. Don't have to worry about Celestial Flare. Celestial Flare can't be cast because there's only a singleton white. The creatures are out of range for Last Breath. Seems like a reasonable play. Obviously, Mist Cutter Hydra can't be countered.
If Eric's plan this turn is to Revelate for 2, you beat
You
that.
beat that. A lot of windows are closed. Puts him probably in the chump blocking duty with the Mutavault.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like that's the call here for VanMeter. So Mist Cutter Hydra going to come into play. It's a 3/3. There's no countering that, I promise. I think we're going to see an attack here with both creatures. And Rill might be priced into now with how this is going. This is interesting. Now he might be priced into this situation where he has to just go. If VanMeter swings with both, he just has to put each Mutavault in front of the 3 power guys and lose them both. Because by double blocking one of the creatures, yes, you get to save a Mutavault, and then like if you were to cast the Supreme Verdict, you would just die to VanMeter's Mutavault because he's at 1.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious as to Chris's hesitation there in sending in the Ooze.
And so now here are the Mutavaults going to get in front of the Scavenging Ooze. Mist Cutter Hydra is going to put Rill, down to 1. Rill's going to lose the Mutavault. VanMeter's going to lose the Ooze. And now the Destructive Revelry is lethal. The Mutavault is lethal. So Chris's draw steps are going to be great here.
Yeah, and Chris also no longer has to worry about the threat of Elspeth.
There's a Last Breath to take care of that Elvish Mystic. VanMeter's going to gain some life. That doesn't really matter very much to Rill. Rill's going to take a draw step here. It's a Detention Sphere, which is not going to do anything on this particular board, as Mist Cutter Hydra is protection from blue. Rill is going to pass the turn back. VanMeter's going to draw. It's a Stomping Ground, and that should put the old check mark on this game.
Yep.
As VanMeter is going to take his time here and make sure he doesn't miss anything, which I obviously think is smart. It's not a slow roll or anything of that nature. He just wants to make sure he doesn't miss anything. So Mist Cutter Hydra is going to get blocked. VanMeter with a Stomping Ground. Thinks the coast is probably clear to fire off that Destructive Revelry. That's what he's going to do. 2 damage. That's going to do it. So Chris VanMeter is going to win this match over Eric Rill. 2-1. Green-Red Monsters moves on to 5-1 in CVM's hand. We'll certainly find out how BBD is doing with it as well, as both those players were 4-1 coming into this round. But at the end of the day, Green